earlier.
All right, we are blue. Here we go. Ready? We are live. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to my channel. I'm Teacher Casey, and today we're going to dive into talking about teachers and things after school and all that kind of happy stuff. But first, I wanted to introduce our featured teachers today, Rebecca and Kelly. So, why don't you
Hello.
ladies introduce yourselves? Let's see.
Okay.
Go ahead,
Let's see.
Kelly.
So I'm Teacher Kelly Tagg, and I have a channel where I do things about teaching in the classroom and teaching online and sometimes other things too. So
Perfect. And you said find her at Teacher Kelly Tag. I'm having trouble hearing. That's why I'm so stopping you. Go ahead, Rebecca.
Yes, I'm Rebecca, and I have a YouTube channel as well, teaching online, teaching with kids. It's kind of a mixture of everything on my channel. Out school, okay, things like that.
Awesome. All right, and everyone got to see the title of today's video. So we're going to talk about should teachers do stuff, classroom stuff off the clock. So as teachers, our commitments to our students, it it's huge, right? And it extends beyond classroom hours. We invest our time, our energy, and our passions. And the big question is it necessary or even healthy to be doing school-related work outside of your contracted hours? So, all right, big questions there. Who wants to start that one?
I think it really depends. Most schools, the contracted hours are 15 to 30 minutes before school starts to 15 to 30 minutes after school ends. You usually get like one prep period in there. You get like a lunchtime where you scarf down food real fast. And sometimes the beginning and the ending, you're doing teacher duties, like watching kids at the drop-offs or the pickups. So you don't really have that time. So it's really hard to get things done in your contract hours, really hard. I would say as a first year teacher, I did a lot of work outside of contract hours. I stayed late every day because I didn't know what I was doing. I was learning everything all at once. It was a lot.
Yeah.
And so I was staying really late. As I progressed and as I taught more and knew the curriculum a little bit more, I was able to stay less and less time because I knew
Yeah.
what was going to happen the next day.
Yeah, I agree with that too. Especially first year, whew, I was there all day, all night. And I had young kids, so it would make me feel guilty as a mom. And then if I didn't do it, it'd make me feel guilty as a teacher. And it was kind of one of those like, just get it done. So,
yeah.
Kelly, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I have many thoughts. So first of all, my advice to someone who is just entering the teaching realm is to pick wisely which aspect of teaching that you go into. Because at least where I live, and I assume it's this way most places, let me know if it's not, there is one teacher scale. It's like if first year teacher step one is this salary, and it doesn't matter if you teach high school calculus, if you
Mm,
teach gym, if you teach art, if you teach preschool, if you teach, middle, elementary, high school, it's one scale. So pick wisely which aspect of it you go into. I really like my new job because it doesn't require a lot outside the classroom.
mm,
With me doing preschool, I don't have a lot of grading to do. And then I'm a special ed teacher in an inclusion classroom. So I also, since there is 3 people in the classroom, if I need to take an hour while the other 2 teachers are at recess to maybe work on an IEP or write something, I can. And
nice.
then my contract hours are like a half hour before and a half hour after. We're supposed to have nap time to do work too, but this group of kids does not nap. And my co-teacher even told me this isn't typical. Like usually you can get stuff done during nap time.
Yeah,
Um, anyways, hopefully you guys can still see me.
we can.
My computer went out. Oh, you can?
Yeah.
Okay. Good. So that would be my advice. Last year I was teaching middle school and you have 130 to 160 kids. So that is a lot of grading.
Oof.
I chose, luckily now with the digital age, you can, grade a lot online and it's easier, but I couldn't imagine being like an English teacher where you they're actually like writing and you have to read every single word and things like that. And I had one or two, the second one got canceled a lot. Times we would have meetings during planning period, but other than that, I did have about an hour and a half planning every day. But
Wow.
my friend who was an English teacher, like every single day was filled with meetings, so she didn't have that. So yeah, those are my initial thoughts.
Yeah.
It's hard not to, depending on what you're doing for teaching.
Yeah. And going back to what you said about like first year teachers and choosing wisely,
Mhm.
you also like some teachers really put more into it. So
Yeah.
I've had PE teachers where, you know, they do the whatever you could just come in and they'll have something ready. But we also had some teachers that would like talk to us about what our plans were, like during Read Across America week, and they would have all like centers or something all about Dr. Seuss centers and Read Across America or like anything we had. So they really took their time out as well to lesson plan with us and come up with some fun things that related to our themes as well. So that was a lot of fun too. It is what you put into it sometimes,
Yeah.
but like I think there's also different months, different things, right? So come conference time and report card time, I'm a kindergarten teacher, but I was still in there all the time, you know, doing paperwork
Oh,
and
yeah.
getting ready for IEPs and things like that. But yeah, I can say around report card time, I spent a lot more time in there, mostly because I was like terrified to mess up or like
How do
write
I write this nicely?
write poor parent comments and stuff. I'm like, I wanted to make sure I was ready. I even remember a teacher giving me a book on ways to like spin the words, make you sound more professional than your kid's driving me nuts, you know? I mean, you would never say that, but like some real words that really helped you get your point across without sounding, you know, harsh or whatever it is. But yeah, I also think you really need to have a work-life balance. You know, I have in my notes about, you know, you're being healthy. You're a better teacher and you're a better parent when you have that balance because we are dedicated, we are passionate, but we're not just teachers. We are individuals with lives and families and personal pursuits and things. So I think we have to learn how to set boundaries, and I am terrible at that. So, do you guys have any tips? Like, what did you do when you had a lot to grade and you have your family, and then or you have a lot to do, and then you have your family and have all of these things? Did you have any tips or anything that we can give teachers to help them out?
I'm a kid at heart, and so I like rewards. So I put on a timer and say, okay, I got 15 minutes. I'm going to
Hmm.
get these three report cards done in 15 minutes. And if I do, I get a small snack or whatever
Yeah.
it is. Like I do bribe myself and I give myself small
I do
attainable
too.
rewards. I'm not going to say I'm going to finish all of it in 1 hour. No,
Right.
that's too big. But go 15 minutes. I'm going to just focus for just a
Yeah.
little bit of a time, and then I can take a little bit of break
Hmm.
because I do. I can spend a long time just meandering the classroom or on my computer and get
Yeah.
nothing done. Like, why did I stay late? I got nothing
Hmm.
done.
I think one
Yeah.
of the biggest things I spent time on was actually in the classroom, not grading papers, but in there getting ready for the next day's events and lessons and things like that, you know, cleaning up from the day before and
Hmm.
oh, I wanted to, you know, switch out this center, you know, things like that. So, okay, now my
Yeah.
computer's doing it. You guys can still see me and hear me okay,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. My computer
Yes.
did something weird too, like an update or something. So that's
Oh,
weird.
okay. Let us know in the chat box. We want to know your thoughts. We want to know if you can still see
Yeah.
us and hear us okay. And
Going off the choose wisely, you also have to choose your age wisely. Like if you
Mhm.
love high school students and you go, I think I'll go teach first grade because it sounds easy, you're gonna
oof,
hate it.
yeah,
You're gonna
Yeah.
hate those kids because they don't listen to you.
yeah. And it's
Mhm.
busy and hard in a different
Yes.
way.
But then you
Yeah.
could switch it and going, well, first graders have to teach English and math and writing and all the basic and penmanship. I don't want to do that. I want to teach English where I can teach the same thing 4 times in a row. So then high school might be better for you. So you have to go, what do you want to teach and what's your jive? Like, who are you as a teacher? Because then that grade will be easier than if you got switched to a younger or an older age group.
Yeah.
Because they're not all the same.
Yeah, high school
Even
and middle
one
school
grade.
they don't listen to you either. So
Right. I mean,
yeah,
even one grade can make a difference between like fourth and fifth graders like that.
Yeah.
They sometimes can make a big difference.
that's definitely a good point though, because I have no want to teach. I mean, that's no secret here. Older students, 25-minute classes online is much different than having a classroom full of fourth and fifth graders. No thanks.
Right.
It's just not what I'm passionate about. I love the kids, I love the age group, but I don't want to teach them all day long. I will stick to the babies. And I think it's funny because some teachers will be like, how do you teach kindergarten? Or other teachers will, they're thinking, oh, kindergarten's so easy. And there's some high school teachers that are like, have you ever been into a kindergarten classroom or first grade classroom? Like, so I just think it's so interesting that, and I'm glad that there's a teacher for everybody, because I'm not that teacher I don't even like doing high school English. Never mind trying to grade a bunch of high school English stuff or teach it. No way.
Yeah.
Not me. Kelly, do you have more thoughts on that one?
Yeah. Also, so yes, like you said, pick, I forgot. Sorry, lost my train of thought. But yeah, another thing is when I noticed because I did the opposite. You guys were teachers first, then online teachers. I did online teaching, then classroom teaching. So one thing that I really learned about myself is I prefer working with small groups or one-on-one. The big, huge 30 kid classes is just a whole different ball game, So even like out school, I had, 6 to 8 students, and you could really talk to them, and I like that. And now in my new teaching job, since I'm doing special ed, I'm in an inclusion class, but like I'm supposed to concentrate on these 3 kids. And then I also work for Child Find, and I go out and visit kids one-on-one. So also that's another aspect of your personality you should look into when thinking about teaching, and, and thinking about how much work is going to be, involved, because then sometimes I have time in between to plan and, work on data and stuff in between the kids that I visit. So, and also I think I would have been different had I done this right out of college, rather, when you are single and, don't have all the other obligations. Whereas I went into it when I already had a family, so I had to learn that balance right away, because my family needs me too. Stephanie had some good comments in the chat here. She said, without school, I work a lot off the clock time, but at least no one can make me change grade levels. So I can reuse all my lessons. I like VIP kid for this reason, just show up and walk away. Yes, I think that's why most of us liked it. And then I'm creating a tons of flex classes right now, so I can set it and forget it, relatively speaking. That's nice. That's true. Yes, with flex classes. So my thing is, at least without school though, you feel like your work outside, you kind of always had to market yourself. You always had to get good classes because the people could choose to come back or not. And then in the regular school, they're going to come back every day anyway. So there's another difference too, because you do feel like without school, the harder you work, usually the harder you get paid. Not always, but
it's an incentive to keep going. It's your little reward, right, Rebecca?
Yeah, to get more bookings or to raise your pay. It's up to you and the way that you present yourself. In the school classroom, you teach and there's your pay. Like, it doesn't matter if you're a good teacher or a bad teacher, here's your pay.
Right.
So I had 3 tips. One I'm good at, and the other 2 I'm terrible at. Do you guys want to hear them?
Yeah. Let's see what we are at.
What's that? Let's see where you're at. Yeah. So number 1 was focus on essential activities during contracted hours to minimize after hours work. I'm not so good at that one. How about you guys?
I tried to do a lot of the majority of the grading during planning period last year. And then the problem is the emails too would pile up and you can get sucked in an email hole. But yes, you could just go visit your teacher bestie and hang out the whole period. And then you would have work outside the classroom. And that's a little bit you not managing. So there is that aspect. But sometimes despite doing that, you still have a lot to do outside. So it depends.
Guilty. Do I look guilty? One of my best friends was literally across the hall, and we were in a couple buildings together, but we were always together since my first year of teaching. For like 10 years we were together, and she was right there. It was really easy to just chat with her, but she was good at getting work done, so she would just have to make me refocus and get back to work.
If you're like a working buddy, then it's like you're mirroring, and what's the term where you have like somebody working next to you and working together, then that's fine. When I was teaching, there's an ADHD term for like having a work buddy next to you. Not shadowing, but when I was a teacher, I got a 1 hour lunch, and that was the whole thing I got. And for prep period, and it was nice, but we spent most of the hour like chatting in the teacher lounge
and
eating. And on the rare occasions that I'm like, I need to get some stuff done in my classroom, I'm only going to chat for 10 minutes, and then I'm going to go back to my classroom. I'm going to eat my classroom and go, hey, are you okay over there? Yes, I'm just trying to get something done. I'm fine. I just want to leave after school today. I'm fine. When you break your routine, I feel like I couldn't leave early to go back. I feel like I had to stay there the whole time. But like you said, Kelly, when I was a teacher, I was single. And whether I went home at 4 o'clock or 6 o'clock, it didn't matter to me. I was going home to an empty house. It doesn't matter. So when you have family, you have to balance it more.
Yeah. I had a family first because I was active duty, and then I went to teaching. So mine was a little bit different there too. And Rebecca had mentioned collaborating. That's the number two tip, I guess you would say, is collaborate with colleagues and share the workload and support each other. I've probably said this on my channel before, but my work bestie, like we had talked about before, we would test all of our students individually, but then we would group them together, collaborate on how to teach. So say she took the highest group, I took the second highest, and I didn't have to plan for the highest group, the second highest, the third, you know what I mean? The lowest group. We mixed our kids so we would have more than one student at that level. And then she would lesson plan for this group. I would lesson plan for this group. So we actually only had to lesson plan for half, but we would mix our students. So I think collaborating with other teachers, I think I do that pretty well. That's probably the one I'm good at. But as long as I don't sit there and collaborate and talk about stuff not on topic.
Well, I was lucky in the sense last year, since I did come in the middle of the year, and I did have a wonderful co-teacher that, she knew my situation, knew I was coming in the middle is not easy, and she already had it all planned out. So I had all the grading, I had all the other stuff, but I didn't have to do the planning. And wow, I couldn't imagine for high school or middle school with all those kids if you had to do both. And sometimes admin will add things on. So I've heard, from some of my old teachers, now they're having to collect more data to, see how the school's doing. And that's just another thing that was added on to teachers that make it hard to get it all done. And some teachers say they can't even get it all done in 50 hours a week, let alone 40. So
it's a true story. That makes me want to get up on my soapbox and start talking, but I'm not going to go off topic on that one, Kelly.
Well, it is on topic if it's about, work outside the classroom. So
yeah, it was more of some of the extra stuff we have to do in the school now.
Right. So well, that adds to your plate though,
it's
of
true.
Things that you have to do that then make you have to do more outside the classroom. So I think it does relate.
It definitely relates. It's just a whole nother hour of talking about because we are collecting all this data, and we as teachers, we do collect a lot of data normally, but then when they're telling you need an extra test or an extra this or an extra that, and start making folders for every student, and then now we have a new binder, you need to come and put this in, and come down to the office and now we're filing this. And it just seemed like there was always something new to do, and
Mhm.
you're trying to do it all at home. And so, go ahead, Rebecca.
Yeah, I thought of the word, guys. We like work with somebody, it's called a body double.
A
So even
body
if you're
double.
not working the same thing, the fact that you're in the same room working, not distracting each other,
Right.
working together, you guys can get a lot of stuff done. When I was in college, I had a hard time focusing writing my papers. But if a bunch of us got together, boom, we were able to get it done.
Hmm.
If I'm cleaning the house or packing up, I need somebody with me and doing it kind of with me.
Yeah.
Um, not distracting me on things and not just like I'm gonna play on my phone while you work. No, like we're actually digging in there
Well,
together and doing it.
yeah.
Then I feel like more motivated.
And I
So
feel guilty if I'm not working on something when somebody else is working on it. So my
exactly.
husband's really good at that because he does well with cleaning and getting things done. So when he's doing that, I don't want to sit on my tush and not do anything. So I definitely get more done when he's home and because he's
And
always working on something.
a lot of people like well house cleaning and stuff you can do body doubles with YouTube videos, and so you can put on somebody like come clean with me and they'll
Huh.
clean their house and you can clean your house, so we have that like across the world body double. Maybe
Mhm.
there's something for teacher planning, so like maybe you can listen to like a teacher planning YouTube video and get some work done while you're listening.
Yeah. Oh, fun.
Hmm.
We haven't shouted out everyone. I should really do that. I'm sorry, everyone in the chat box. We had Patricia here. She's gonna watch the replay because she's teaching, I think. And then Shaniqua, sorry I didn't see you sooner. And Mary, I miss you. And Stephanie is here. Thank you, ladies, for coming and hanging out with us. So, and
Thanks, ladies.
yeah, again, put it in the chat box. I know we've got about what do we have? About 5 more minutes on this topic. So I'm gonna share the third tip that I had. And this is so hard for me, ladies. This is learn to say no when necessary.
Mm.
And it says it's empowering and helps maintain a healthy work-life balance. But I mean, both Kelly and Rebecca know I'm terrible at this. I didn't even want to tell tell VIP kid that I was going to another another school, another platform because I felt like I was telling them no, like I wasn't putting all of my effort into one thing.
So
So
loyal.
I can't say
Mhm.
no. It's hard.
You know, I was told that when you're a first year teacher, cut everything out of your life that's not essential. So all of
Oof.
your after school things, your evening things, as much as you can, cut it out so you can just
Yeah.
focus on teaching. Then second, third year, you can ask me back in. So if you were volunteering at some church functions, maybe pull back a little bit
Mm.
and do the bare minimum for just a year or two and then slowly add in. If you come in with your already heavy life workload into a school workload, it's too much. And if you have kids, you still have to do all the kid stuff. So some things you can't say no to.
Yeah.
you know, so you
Yeah.
have to go, what can I say no to so that I
Yeah.
don't burn out?
Right. And I think you were talking about saying no to things in the school, right? Start up
Yes.
this committee or do this activity.
That too.
Yes. So, yes, well, so far, I mean, I'm only a new teacher, but I haven't really, volunteered for those things. But same, I have a life outside. Like maybe I'll feel differently when my son graduates from high
Mm.
school, but I just feel like I don't have time for that kind of thing. So, yeah.
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 Luckily, some of the after school clubs and things like that, they were paid positions, but more
Oh,
importantly, they kept me healthy. Like a couple of years I got paid for teachers working out in my classroom or running teacher workouts and
oh, nice.
running workouts for the students and marathon club and things like that. So luckily the things that I did after school were things that I was passionate about and things my own personal kids could volunteer at and things that kept me healthy. So
Oh, that's
luckily
good.
if you
That's good.
find those kind of things, I think it's worth it. But I definitely agree. Uh-oh, I think we're getting ads. Sorry, everybody. But I also like if somebody comes in and says, "Hey, can you write this report by the end of the day on this student so I can take it to an IEP or something?" I'm like, "Okay." Like,
Yeah. And some things you
Right.
can't say no to that you get work put on you. So you have to just
yeah.
kind of balance those out. Yeah. I was saying that when I was before I was student teaching or teaching. I was working multiple days after school. I was working on the weekends. I was volunteering at my church 1 or 2 nights a week.
Yeah.
I had a busy outside of school life. And then I was trying to learn everything about teaching, and I
Yeah.
was overloaded. So I said, okay, next time I'm just going to work at the school. I'm not going to work on the weekends at my retail job. I'm
Yeah.
going to cut out all of the evening church activities so I can just focus on planning. So yeah, I did have to plan a little bit extra than my first year or two, but then it got better. But I'm like, I don't want to overburden myself.
Yeah. Where were you my first year teaching?
Well, I
I
didn't have kids. Like if I
yeah.
had kids, like, okay, we're gonna do some lessons twice a week. No, we're gonna do 1 day a week. Or like I would find some ways that I
Yeah.
could cut back if possible.
I had
You know,
my
some things you
kids.
can't.
Yeah, I had my kids, but I decided to do my master's program my first year
No,
teaching.
yeah, I learned never not to do that. So I didn't.
Whew. Awesome. So any other tips you guys can think about, or anybody in the chat box, let us know. Do you have tips? I think the biggest one for me is setting a timer.
Yeah.
Mm.
I
Yeah.
am encouraged by these people, these teachers on YouTube who say, my goal this year is to only work contract hours. And I'm going to
Oof.
be out the door when that bell goes, and you get half an hour, and then I'm
Yeah.
out the door. That's a great goal. It's not always realistic. When you have a big project due and you have to
Yeah.
grade everything, it's harder to do that. But as much as you can, put yourself a time limit and put a time and go, okay, I will stay after school 30 minutes extra,
Yeah.
not 2 hours extra. Like, say, I'm going to be home at this time,
Mm-hmm.
and then maybe devote an hour in the evening
Yeah.
after dinner on the kids to work on things, but try your best to put limits on yourself so you don't waste the whole day away.
I don't know if it was the same for you, Kelly, but like my kids were in the school next door for
Mm.
the whole time. And so they could do their after school sports. I could stay there and get stuff done. And then they could come to my classroom, get their homework done. I would get stuff done. And then we'd leave and go, do dinner and everything at home. So luckily they were near me. I didn't have to run out and pick them up or meet them
That's
somewhere.
nice.
So that
Yeah.
helped.
Yeah, well, last year I worked in the county where I live, so that kind of worked out when my son started after school soccer. When I got off later, when I got off, it was like the perfect time to pick him up. But now he drives, and I
Yeah.
work in a different county, so it kind of all worked out.
Nice.
But another one I think that we haven't mentioned that I hear a lot of people say is don't grade everything. That's another one.
I did
Yeah.
hear about that just recently. This one lady said, or this one teacher, I'm in a big teacher group, and she said participation grades was this week. I got so sick, I could barely function. She said, so everybody got graded on, did they do the work? She
Right.
said she just had to do it that way for her own mind, her, everything. So,
Yeah,
Right.
rubrics help too. So you can just like
Mhm.
check boxes and say you did, good instead of having to read every word. You just go, it got done. It looks good. It got done
yeah,
enough.
nice.
Right.
Awesome. All right. Well, if that's all we have, I know we all need to get going here. So just remember, taking time for yourself isn't selfish. It's necessary sometimes. And I don't know. Thanks for joining us today. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this topic, like I mentioned in the comments. Remember, you guys are amazing educators, and taking care of yourself allows you to be a more effective and amazing teacher in the classroom. And that's it. All right, everyone.
Bye.
That was
Bye,
good.
Kelly. Bye, Rebecca. Thank
Bye.
you.
See ya.
Bye, everybody in the chat. We'll see you all next time. Bye.